welcome back to the Rhonda Swan Show. Well, once again, we are here in Bel Air. We are preparing for the launch of my latest book, Women Gone Wild. We have a big event tonight. So if you hear a little noise, don't be distracted because my guest is going to blow your mind. And before I actually introduce my guest, I really do want to thank Nightfall Group for allowing us to be in this beautiful home all week while we're launching our book, and we're bringing some amazing people here. They are the greatest group to deal with and the most beautiful houses, especially this one with this view that you're gonna see in a moment inside of Bel Air. But let me introduce my next guest, because he's not only has the heart and the passion for health and wellness, but he's also helping change people's lives with their work. He went from a macroeconomic strategist all the way into now being the chief operating officer of TIDL Sport, which is a company that is not only backed and endorsed by Conor McGregor, and a company that is truly showing that they are not afraid to flex their muscle and to stretch the limits of the health and wellness industry. So, Nav Singh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Doing great, yeah. It's a great Friday, it's nice.
Yeah, it's a good Friday. LA's kind of got now some sunshine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's talk about you. Like, how did you get to where you are today? Let's go a little bit into your background, like where you came from, corporate into now, you know, running this amazing company that's changing the world.
Yeah, so I mean, from a very young age, I always knew that I liked helping people. Yeah. Even early days of college, I wanted to be a doctor. Okay. And just by virtue of being in college around the dot-com like ascension and descension, I got into information systems and tech, and then with that became there was a combination of economics as well. So that became very interesting to me. I've always liked to solve things, whether it's like medicine, you get to solve problems for people and help them out, and I don't know, I just got really fascinated with the technology side, went in that direction, and found myself on Wall Street of all places. And
well, that's a crazy industry.
Yeah, it just so happened to go to school in New York, so I was just in the epicenter of everything, and it just it became my life for a long time. But I always had this itch to go back into something that's helping people, and so when I did about a little over a decade on Wall Street, and then had this really cool opportunity to work with some really special entrepreneurs and people who've had a lot of success in their respective lives, who are doing something in health and wellness, and it just was like the perfect mix. You don't always get this opportunity to work with people that you genuinely want to be around, and we have this great brotherhood. Which is just really rare, and I think it's super critical in a young company to have that camaraderie where, one day you're wearing, the CFO hat, next day you're wearing a operations hat, next day you're, it's just, we all interchange with each other and we all bounce ideas off of each other. So it was just this great opportunity for me to be part of this like special company.
I mean, being from loving health and wellness and then finding people that also get that, but they're also into tech, like that doesn't necessarily sound like a normal mix, is it?
So every company these days is a tech company in some capacity.
Yeah, in some capacity, right?
And so, everybody had their own story of why they got into it. Everybody has a passion for it. Yeah. We have people with PhDs. We've got a medical board. So there's a number of physicians that we work with as well. People who have children who had special needs in terms of traditional medicines didn't work for them, so they're looking for solutions. Yeah. On my end, I really care about my mom and dad and just figuring out, how do I get as much time as I can with them, in the time that we do have on in this world. So so those things we're all passionate about. How do we improve somebody's life, quality of life, and kind of that, I'm not gonna life extension, but like that extension of the high quality of life.
Yeah. So then, how did TIDL really come about? Right. Like, where did it come from? Why are you doing it? And who's it helping? I guess.
Yeah. So TIDL was born out of, originally the company started in the CBD space, and that was this alternative to opiates and other types of like kind of really heavy medication
Yeah.
for sleep and pain and inflammation. So we had a separate brand that focused on CBD, and we owned farms, and we were doing kind of this whole seed to shelf model, all marketed through physicians networks. So we were just medical. You wouldn't find us in the stores. We weren't marketing, digitally.
Yeah.
And it was just really like word of mouth and just focused on quality, efficacy.
High grade quality, efficacy.
And so that product was really sticky. We still have over 10,000 patients that are using that product, and that piqued the interest of Connor and his group. He was actually using that product, reached out to us, had his team reach out and said, what are these guys doing?
Wow.
And we were always thinking we're going to build different brands in different categories that we find are disruptible. So pain was one, and we right now we're a bunch of guys in our late 30s and early 40s, so sports recovery is very, very topical for us. A lot of us are former athletes, and
Right.
so you get those aches and pains.
Yeah.
And we thought about what embodies that, and TIDL was born out of this like lifestyle brand. And let's focus on recovery. Our CMO, we call him CMO squared because he's also our chief medical officer. He's a degree in pharmacology, and comes from big pharma, really well versed on pain and inflammation. So that like perpetuated to, let's create some product that helps people recover, reduce inflammation in the body. We were already doing it with our CBD products for pain and sleep. And so TIDL originally started out with CBD in it, early days. That's changed since.
Is there a reason why it changed?
Yeah, so CBD still there's restrictions, regulations
where you
in
can
different
sell,
areas.
and how you can
Now,
offer
with
it.
the explosiveness of having this lightning in a bottle like Connor, and having that international exposure,
Yeah, you need
we
to
had
make
this-
sure it's.
yeah, we
be-
could get it to
yeah,
different
can get
countries.
it to different,
now,
globally.
the other thing that we have is we have a great chief science officer who's amazing at formulation. So what we did is we said, all right, how can we have the same efficacy, but maybe we can reduce or substitute CBD out, but have something else. We actually switched to a product called beta-caryophyllene, which is another plant-based ingredient.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for us to go plant-based. A lot of packaging you'll see is plant-powered.
Yeah.
And so, that we switched to this BCP that's extracted from clove, but it's also a cannabinoid found in hemp. So when we're extracting it from clove, perfectly fine to get into different countries, whether it's the UK, Ireland, Australia.
Which I just noticed that that's where your expansion is.
Yeah.
So now you're overcoming any of those gaps or those barriers actually that a lot of companies that run into. Will you share what TIDL means? Because you shared this before we started, and I was like, wow, I was really impressed with that because I wanted to know where the origin of the name came from.
Yeah, so it's tenacity, intensity, dedication, lifestyle. And I think that's really embodies like what we want people to feel around the brand.
Yeah.
Especially as we grow it into, right now we have a few SKUs that focus on pain and inflammation, but we absolutely feel like we can get into the lifestyle space and expand that, offering.
So with TIDL, how many products do you have right now? Is it just the one main?
We have two.
Okay.
We have a cryotherapy spray. And then we have a performance cream, used slightly differently. And then we have other products that complement that in the pipeline. For example, we're looking at introducing a lidocaine patch. But there's some other products that I can't talk about just yet because they're still early days in formulation.
Yeah.
But we do have, by end of this year, we should have another 3 or 4 SKUs that are not necessarily in. They could be in the categories of, let's say, energy and hydration. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say for, let's say, someone in their 30s into their early 40s? Like, what are some of the best tips on health and wellness that we can offer to the audience? Because I always love when I have someone that comes like with such a broad stroke of knowledge is like, what should people be doing now? I mean, obviously you have Conor McGregor. He's, elite athlete, right? But what can we do? as I would played for the women's U.S. softball team, so like I know my thing. But I'm 49 now. I'm like, and I do weekend warrior stuff. I went to Burning Man, broke my knee. Like that was horrible. Like I was in the gladiator pit thinking I'm hardcore. I beat this guy down, but I broke my knee, and the recovery sucked.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we shorten these gaps as we're getting older? Is your product helpful for these type of injuries and recovery?
Absolutely. I mean, anything that we can do to reduce inflammation in our bodies, whether it's topical or something you ingest, I think we're really learning that inflammation is one of the big negatives that we get in our bodies that create all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
Not just muscular issues, but other types even around your organs.
Like what kind of issues? Because let's crack it. Because a lot of people are listening to you going, this guy's so smart. But what are these issues that happens? Like what are the type of inflammations that we have, and what can we take internally and topically? Because I think people don't know this, and inflammation is a big one.
Yeah,
one of the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of natural ingredients, and like I'm not a physician, but
for sure.
So I don't want to comment too much on ingestible stuff. But this is where there's this great intersection happening in health and wellness, where you have kind of maybe older Eastern medicine coming in and mixing with modern medicine. So we look at things like ashwagandha, or look at turmeric and cumin or cinnamon. Like these things have anti-inflammatory properties that we can take and maybe make more of a regular part of our diet. They also have the other part of that is mental health, and I think that's something that's going to be really coming into focus, and that's something that we're really excited about, whether it's nootropics or other types of functional ingredients that help with the mental aspect, because the more you combine that mind and body, your mind has a lot of impact on your body. So if you feel, if you're having anxiety and stress, your body's producing a lot more cortisol, and that's creating a lot of inflammation in your body and other issues that you may not even know is coming from how you're feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's a big one. It's like really unpacking where things are originating from. I mean, we live in Bali, right? So you mentioned turmeric, like we call it jamu. It's this drink that they make in Bali, and we drink it every single day because it helps with inflammation. It's like a magic juice, right? And the moment that we've been in Bali for a long time, but that what it's helping inside. But unless the mind believes it or is clear and is out of these external environments that are negative, I think we forget that a lot, right? We talk about science, it's like, actually, where are you hanging out?
Right. And who are you hanging with?
Who are you hanging out with?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Inside, in your mind, and with people that you know.
Yep.
Can you comment on that? Because I think that's the mental health side is, I believe, actually, that's the number one that we need to start with, and triggers all of the the outcomes and the pains and the inflammations, all the things that we have. If we can clear the mind, all this can actually start to also be healed, because then we do more.
Yeah.
We work out more. We get hurt more so that we can fix it. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you just think about if you're really tense, right? You're more prone to injure yourself.
Yep.
Doing physical activity because your muscles are super tense. But everything that we engage with, I think having that awareness around, am I spending time on social media? And then if I am, what's it doing to me? How am I feeling when I'm engaging with it?
Right. What am I reading? What am I looking at?
Right. And sometimes we just get caught up in, let's say, news and now with all the algorithms being smarter, the more you look at something, the more you're going to get fed that same thing. So I think it's really we have to have that awareness to take a break from technology sometimes. Really good example. I went and saw Bob Dylan last night.
Yes, you did?
Yeah.
What? Where?
At the
Dodger?
At the Pantages.
Oh, I did not know about this. Brian, did you know that Bob Dylan was playing last night?
No. Can't believe I didn't get it.
My husband is behind the camera right now. We went to the Grateful Dead because we're big Grateful Dead fans.
Love it.
My daughter, we went all on Saturday last week. Well, tell us about Bob Dylan.
So
How old is he?
He's 81.
Right.
81.
He's jamming.
Yeah, he was jamming. Now it was a different type of setting. He played mostly stuff from his new album. But he was on a piano actually most of the time.
Wow.
And it was really intimate, really cool.
Yeah.
Had this jazzy, bluesy kind of feel to it. But one thing they did is that no cell phones. So when you walk in, they pack your cell phone in like this magnetically sealed bag. You keep it with you, but the experience was so different. Everyone's actually engaged. Everyone's watching. Everyone's enjoying that moment, that music, who you're there with. So it was different and special in that way.
Yeah.
I think if we did more of that, right? I'm not one of those people that say technology is a bad thing. I think it's a great thing, but having the ability to
in the awareness. I mean, those are really big steps. I mean, if you just think about it, Bob Dylan's 81. Now, he did not have a cell phone when he started, so clearly he's like, fuck the cell phones, because he doesn't care about it. However, it's the mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I really respect that and appreciate it, because that's what we as creators, entrepreneurs that are doing things to help shift the consciousness of the planet.
Yep.
We have to be mindful. I think that's a really big thing. So how would you say with TIDL, like how are you being more mindful than just treatment, right? Because you're creating a product that can treat people. What are you doing that even is creating more mindfulness and even helping create more consciousness and awareness of this health and wellness aspect?
So we're just scratching the surface. TIDL is really, really young and it's growing really fast. But we are always looking at, we have a formulation lab, so we're always challenging ourselves on kind of novel delivery forms. What kind of other products can we introduce
that are needed?
Yeah. We're not just going to stay in, pain management, for example.
Yeah.
It's something that we have expertise in just because of our team. But we also have expertise around, things like that are in mental health or other functional foods that we're looking at. We're kind of down the road with a potential partnership with a big, snack manufacturer, and that could be functional foods that help you with some form of clarity, stress, focus, anxiety. And we're learning more about that, like as a community, that there are all these different foods that impact how you feel
and how you perform.
Right, and so those are things we're looking to introduce over time.
Yeah, nice. Have you considered an education? Like, are you just mainly sticking more so with formulations and products? Because there's some companies that do education really well, and others are like, no, we just want to focus on the science and the product.
We talk about it internally.
Yeah.
I think it's important to get that education piece out there. I think as we grow, we'll introduce more education around the products and why we introduce these types of products, what they mean to us.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that, given the kind of the trajectory of the company so far, of the brand, it's gone so fast. We're always spread thin, so we're always like, where do we put our focus?
Where's our priorities at, right?
So that's something that's definitely in our roadmap.
Yeah.
But we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate though that you get the work that you're doing deserves to have that knowledge base, whether it's using your endorsers that help educate their people, right? Because everyone wants to be Conor McGregor, but it's like, well, how does he actually get to where he is? Like he's fire. However, he's a very mindful man. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's very strategic, and I think when we use, especially with endorsements, it's like choosing the right ones that can really represent your product.
Absolutely.
And I really think that I feel that you've chosen the right one, because he's like wild, but he's very mindful of what he does.
It's total controlled aggression. When he's
you go. That's
he's a surgeon.
Yeah, he's a surgeon.
When it comes to his craft. So
well, I love it. I love what you do. Being a past athlete, I wish we had the knowledge that we had now, right? Like CBD, all these things. Like, gosh, the stuff that we did to relieve pain just wasn't as advanced or as understood as it is now.
Right.
I was in my 20s. I'm 49 now. I was in my 20s and I was a power lifter. I was a fitness competitor, and I was damaging myself constantly.
Yeah.
You know, and especially being a young woman, like I'm working out with the men, and like no one taught me really how to treat your body right, how to heal it properly. We just went hard.
Just went hard, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that this is these are the new advancements that we get to have because of technology.
Right.
You know, if we use it the right way, if we understand what's the environment around us, and we put the right things in our body, you know, our bodies are machines. I mean, they really can live a lot longer. So what's next for TIDL now? Like where should we like make sure that we're following what's next? Like what's happening for you guys?
Yeah, so you know, I would say people to definitely check us out on Instagram,
Yeah.
go to our website, but we just launched in Walmart.
Awesome.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
We're in CVS. Rite Aid is around the corner. We're going to be on shelves there in July. We're at Vitamin Shop, and there's a few other places we're going to be, you know, big box retail that you'll see us at. But
Okay.
in the U.S. So.
All right, this is great. So like literally everyone in the audience can actually go find TIDL Sport right now if you're an athlete or if you're someone that is, you know, in that aging process, right, where your recovery time needs some assistance. Like this is the stuff that we need to focus on now. And this is what, you know, TIDL is doing, certainly with Nav and your team that you're doing. I appreciate you, I applaud you, because these are like the entrepreneurs of the next generation, the next level. And imagine yourself creating something that could change someone's life. Like really, we use that statement so easily, but really think about it. Are you doing and are you creating something that can actually change someone's life? Ask yourself that question, because the moment you can say yes, now we know we're moving into the next consciousness, the next level of where this planet deserves to be, right? And that's what we do here as entrepreneurs, as scientists, as creators, as change makers. We are here to make a shift in this planet for the better. Let the old crap go. The matrix has already been broken. Just leave it alone. Get away from it. Stop thinking in the box. Step on top of the box, smash the box, and let's create. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Make sure you're following where TIDL Sport is going next. Make sure that you are giving them all of your feedback. When you find their product in CVS and Walmart, make sure you take a picture. Tag TIDL Sport on Instagram. Go find them, because this is how these type of products grow. I love companies that put all their money into the research and development and let the people do the marketing, and that's you. All right, everyone, hope you enjoyed today's show. Don't forget to be unstoppable and stay wild. We'll see you in the next episode.